Hi, ladies. Welcome back to Talk Nasty to Me. It's Nikki Nasty. Who else? All right. How are we doing? Great. Good to hear it. Happy Monday if you're listening to this on Monday. I am not listening to this because I don't listen back to my own podcast because I think I would puke. And that's kind of gross. Usually in the beginning of the pod, I like to try and talk about what happened in my week, but I'm literally sitting here and I cannot remember what happened this week. Like, I cannot remember a single thing about my week, I don't think, which is kind of concerning. But I'm sure it was an okay week. I mean, I think I would remember it if it were terrible. So clearly it wasn't that bad. I think I'm doing better. Not that I was doing like terrible or anything, but I think I'm doing better as the days go on. I have rebooted my channel. When I say reboot, okay. I took one day off of not uploading. I think on Thursday I did not upload just because I need to like spend some time with my family and taking care of stuff and whatever. And today I uploaded a new video and it was about cancel culture. And to be honest, I was like really, really worried about uploading the video itself because I felt like I would get a negative response. So far, most of the response is great. It's just a lot of, not a lot, but just some boys being angry that I called out men. But you know, like what else is new? You know what I mean? So not really bothered by that, but if you didn't watch the video, if you want a quick summary of the video, I just essentially talked about like what cancel culture, quote unquote, even is, how it doesn't affect everyone the same, how it definitely affects women a lot different than it affects men in the media. And also I just, some thoughts on like Dramageddon 3 or whatever. I hate it all. I hate it so much. Like, I just wish that it were over, and it's so much. But I don't know. I just feel like a lot of it is dobranoc. Sorry, I was saying goodnight to my mom. But I feel like a lot of it is people who are on this platform and you don't necessarily deserve a platform because of all the terrible things that they have done and the pain that they have caused people. And it sucks. It really, really sucks because I feel like it kind of like ruins it for everyone else and gives people a bad rap. But also I do feel like the way that people go about canceling, quote unquote, I feel like it can be definitely very dangerous, especially, for people's mental health sake and everything. So I just kind of talk about how I hope that going forward, a lot more people choose to educate themselves and, want to be better themselves and everything. And, I hope that we have some grace with people, but when I say that, I don't mean on like extensive things, like terrible things, like don't let things slide, but I mean like just understanding that people are human and people can grow within reason. Anyway, enough of that. Today's video is about relationship advice. And you might be asking yourself, Nikki Nasty, why are you giving relationship advice? And you're probably not asking yourself that. It's probably because you already trust me with relationship advice. The reason I'm giving relationship advice is because I think that I am the best person to give relationship advice. I am so knowledgeable about relationships. I have been in so many relationships. I'm joking. I've been in like 2.5 relationships. It's not, no. But no, I love giving advice. I think a lot of it has to do with because, drum roll please, I'm a Virgo. Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I just always feel like I'm right and that my advice is good. But I think a lot of that is because I just kind of like step myself into a lot of other people's shoes. So like if people are telling me their stories, I feel like I've almost experienced it in a way. So all throughout my life, I feel like I've lived all these different types of lives and lived through all these different experiences. But I realize it's not. It's just all of these collective stories from friends and family and from TV shows and movies and YouTube videos. And it's never really my experience. It's just other people's experience. And I think that I actually went through it when I didn't. Thus, I think I know a thing or two about relationships now, okay? No, but in all seriousness, I'm not a relationship love guru by any means, but I feel like I can give some good advice to the younger folks. You know what I mean? This isn't just for the ladies today. I've had some boys ask me some questions, which is really cute. I love when boys message me and they're like, help, how do I get my girlfriend to stop hating me? And I'm like, oh my God. Happens more often than you think, kids. Let me give you a little bit of a backstory about my relationship past. Why don't we? I had, well, I don't even know what you would consider boyfriends, but I had my first quote unquote boyfriend, I think in the 7th or 8th grade. And this boy was like my best friend. He might be listening to the podcast. What's up if you are? I was in the 8th or 7th grade, however old I was. I was not ready for a relationship. I was super fucking nervous. And we dated for 24 hours. And then I broke up with him. But it's okay because then he went on to date my best friend. So if either of you are listening to this, what's up? And then my freshman year of high school, I had my first other boyfriend. So I don't know if he's my second. I don't freaking care. But it lasted for like a week and a half or 2 weeks. I've told this story before, but basically I told him that I didn't want to kiss him because I'm so allergic to gluten that if he had gluten within like the last 12 hours, I'd have a severe allergic reaction. So we kissed like 3 times. And I hated every single time that it happened. I remember specifically, so my friend's mom would like drive me home because I was like on the way home and everything. And my school district didn't have school buses or anything. And I didn't drive when I was a freshman. So I was like walking down this hill to get to my friend's mom's car, and the guy that I was dating, he was on the football team. And so all of his little football friends were walking down to the field while I was walking down to the car. And I knew that they were behind me. And I really did not want to see my boyfriend because I didn't like him. So I like sped walk to the car, practically running. And he's like yelling my name. He's like, Nicole. And I just like quickly get into the car and I'm like, okay, drive. It was like literally like I was in Fast and Furious. And then she just sped away. And I didn't have to see him. And I'm pretty sure that his friends probably like roasted him. But I didn't, no. But it's fine. I'm sure he's living a really great life now. I don't think he is. I creeped on his Instagram the other week and I don't know if he's doing that well. He like cracked his head open like really, really bad when he was drunk and he like documented it on Instagram. And I was like, I think I'm doing better than you. Like, I think I'm living okay. Like, I don't regret our breakup. And it wasn't a very in-depth relationship. All that we talked about was my gluten allergy and The Walking Dead, both of which he always brought up because he didn't care to learn anything else about me. He was just like, okay, this bitch can't eat crackers. And I love The Walking Dead. That was basically all of our conversations on Kick. And then I had another boyfriend. Don't really want to get into it. And then I'm dating my current boyfriend now, who we've been together for almost 3 years, which is really disgusting. And count your days, buddy. I'm just kidding. I always joke around about that, but I never ever mean it. And yeah, we've been together for a while. I made the first move. And here we are. It's a lavish life. We can't even see each other because of the pandemic. His dog is great though. So that's the main reason why I'm sticking around. So if you don't know, my boyfriend and I are currently in a long distance relationship when we're not both home from college. He goes to school in North Carolina. I go to school in Philly. It's about like an 8-hour drive. So we don't see each other very much during the school year. And we've been doing this throughout the entirety of college, which is really weird to think about because now that we're in the final year, I feel like I literally blinked and it was over. But it's really cool to look back on that we've been together all throughout it. We met directly right before we both left off to college. Like we started dating in August and we both left in August. And a lot of people told us not to do it, but then we did it anyways. So I guess I'm pretty well versed in the whole long distance relationship kind of thing, especially because it's not like, oh, we're long distance for like 2 months. It's like, no, we've been long distance for like practically 3 years now. So let's start off with the questions. If you guys want to ask me any questions in the future when I ask for advice or future questions for the podcast, my Instagram is just at Nicole Raffi. I post on my stories pretty frequently and you probably won't miss it. And I'll probably be asking on Sundays because that's when I record the pod. Somebody referred to it as the potty today and I hated it. But let's start off with the I wanted to say advice questions, but no. Let's start off with the questions. Advice on staying true to yourself and not getting too caught up in your relationship. I think this is a great question because I have found myself in a relationship in the past completely losing sight of who I was. And it felt like I lost like a year and a half of my identity. And then I had to find out all over again who I was. And I promised myself from that point on that I would never, ever be like that ever again. That from that moment on, I would always be true to myself and who I am. That's it. I almost said period, but I didn't even want to say period. That's it. And so then I made it a really great point that in this relationship, especially because we were going to be long distance, that I would focus on myself so much. And if the relationship were to work out, that's awesome. But I come first. And it worked out awesome because in the long run, we kind of grew together, but it gave so much room for growth where I was constantly figuring myself out and we were both going through college, which is supposed to be like this super confusing time and everything. So yeah, I think my greatest advice for that is having space and distance with your partner within reason. Like, I don't think it's necessarily healthy to be hanging out when, you're not a married couple, like hanging out every single day. I don't know if that's the best idea. Maybe you should spend some more time hanging out with yourself or hanging out with friends or hanging out with your family because you don't constantly always have to be with your significant other. You know what I mean? And when you're constantly with them, you kind of forget who you are sometimes, I find. And so I think having hobbies that don't involve your partner are really, really important. Like, I think it's really cool that I do YouTube, for example, and my boyfriend does not even go on social media. Like, he goes on social media but doesn't participate. And so I think that the fact that we have such different, well, it's not a hobby. Like, I'm not sitting here like social media is my hobby. That'd be kind of weird. But no, I think it's cool because like he's really into sports. I am not into sports. Like, we both love working out, but we love doing it in different ways. And so we can come together on some things, but then we like both hang out and do our own thing. He plays basketball, I do weightlifting, and we can both do that solo, but then when it's time to come together, we can go on like a hike together or something. So I guess remembering who you are, but always trying new things to find out who you are as a person when you keep evolving. That's my advice on that. Another person says, I really like this boy, but we're not dating because we live 12 hours away. Should we go for it? Heck yeah, I think you should go for it. Especially if that person is on board. Yeah, you should definitely go for it because being in a long distance relationship, a lot of people will deter you from it. And that's probably because it just didn't work out for them. But I mean, you won't know until you try. And also, like, low-key, I've thought about this before, but I was like, well, if me and my boyfriend were to break up, it'd kind of be low-key easier because I wouldn't have to see him and I wouldn't have to deal with all the repercussions. I wouldn't have to see his friends all the time. So it'd kind of be easier in a sense, like it's worth trying. Like, what do you have to lose truly? If you're really into this guy and if he's really into you, you'll find ways to make it work. Like, FaceTime is a blessing. When Miss Roney clears up, flights will be back in session. You can go visit him. I think long distance relationships are awesome. And especially if they're with the right person, I think it's meant to happen. So I think if anything, it'll just be like a little mini test for you guys, a little exam, a little pop quiz to see how you guys are doing throughout the relationship. I say go for it. Absolutely. Please keep me updated because I want to know if this relationship blossoms. Another person said how to heal from over a breakup that you caused. Okay, so in my past, I have always been the breaker-upper. Yeah. And I feel like it only really hit me hard once when I was in a longer relationship, and it was really, really tough on me. Because, I mean, if that's what you're asking, like you are the person who broke up with them, I'm assuming that's what you're asking, unless you're saying that like something happened because of something that you did. I think if it's because of a breakup of something that you did, I think you need to forgive yourself first and move on from that, because I don't think that you can move on properly in like future relationships or even like with your own life until you forgive yourself for what you did and, learn from it. and change if you have to. But if it's simply just because like you broke up with someone, I remember specifically after my first like big breakup, I was sitting in my mom's car and I was like sobbing. And I was like, oh my God, how long is this gonna hurt? This hurts so bad. I hate this so much. When is it gonna end? My mom was like, 2. And I was like, 2 months? Oh my God, 2 months? And she's like, no. Give it 2 days. I was like, what? She's like, just give it 2 days. Like, trust me, see how you feel in 2 days. I did not believe her. I was like, yeah, right. Like, I'm going to get over this entire relationship after 2 days. It took me 1 day. Not like I was like, oh my God, I'm completely over him or whatever. But it took 1 day for me to stop that crying and feeling angry and sorry for myself, where I was just like, I'm a bad bitch now and I deserve only the best. And the whole entire I was going to say it's a story for a different time, but it's a story I'll never tell. But it took a lot longer for the entire breakup process and everything. But truly, I felt so much better even after 1 day. It's crazy. And not everyone will feel better after 1 day. So don't be too hard on yourself if you don't feel better after 1 day. But just trust me when I say it won't be as long as you anticipate it for it to be. Another person said, I want a really nice relationship in college, but I don't want to hook up. Okay, so I think if I were single in college, I don't think I would want to hook up either. I think that's just the type of person I am. There's nothing wrong with it, obviously. It's just how I am as a person, where I just don't. That's just not me. And for people that do, keep on doing it. Be safe. But to be honest, you'd be surprised that there are quite a lot of people at college who also don't really want to hook up. You know, there are a lot of people who actually just want to go into a relationship first on and not necessarily just want hookups. So in my experience, I think Tinder and Bumble and all of that, I think on there you'll probably mainly only find hookups. I don't think any of my friends had really any luck with Tinder being a source of a relationship. I think a lot of times, a lot of their relationships have started in college because of mutual friends and meeting people at like parties or even at their dorm. That's where a lot of relationships will stem from, is your group of friends. And then either you date someone in the friend group or you meet someone who knows someone and then they think that you'll click. So I think keep your mind open or your heart open to the possibilities of potentially someone that you already know, or maybe just, you know, like I said, a friend of a friend who might also be looking for a relationship. But I think there's a certain aura, at least, that girls give off, like when they're single and they're looking for someone. I think girls just like exude this certain type of energy, and then boys or girls just come to them. Because at least in my experience, like every time that I'm like open to a relationship, like when I literally tell the universe, I'm like, you know what? A relationship would be nice. This is something that I could get down with. It always came to me like right after. And if I'm not like looking for one, or if I'm not asking the universe, it's just kind of like silent and still. I think that's cool. So open up yourself a bit more. You might be more closed off than you think, and probably stay off of dating apps, because I don't think you'll find a lot of luck there outside of hookups. I could be wrong though. Maybe Hinge is good. I could be wrong. I know nothing about them. I've never had a dating app. Someone said, how do you tell a boy you like them? I just need help because I'm gay and awkward. Heart emoji. I think being straightforward is honestly awesome. However, sometimes it can scare people. Like, I've had guys who were very, very straightforward with me, and it not necessarily scared me, but I think I was too nervous at the time. So I think definitely like dropping hints, or even like asking them on a date, but you don't need to be like, this is a date. Like, you could just be like, hey, do you want to hang out alone at this place together? Maybe don't say the word alone, but I think kind of dropping stuff like that, as long as you know that boy is probably reciprocating those same feelings for you, I think it would work. Something that you guys both have in common. So like, for example, like my boyfriend never tried sushi before. And I was like, oh my God, I know the spot. Do you know the guy, like, do you know those Twitter memes now where it's like girls be like, I know the spot, and then she'll hit like 14 curbs on the way there. Anyway, I think that's funny. But yeah, I knew the spot. And so I took him to like the best sushi place in our hometown, which now sucks. And it's actually very upsetting. And I took him, I was like, no, you have to try sushi. I have to make you try sushi. So we're gonna go. And so we went. And that was like me getting him to be able to come out with me and whatever. So I don't know, try something like that. Let me know how it goes. I hope it goes well. And please be safe. Miss Roney is still out to play. Another person said, I'm graduating high school next year, never kissed/dated. Am I doing something wrong, bro? Absolutely not. You're doing nothing wrong. To be honest, I low-key wish that I kept it that way. Like, I wish that I did not date anyone until I left high school. Because, and even if you don't date outside of high school, like in college or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that either. There's no right age or anything. And a lot of people will tell you that they wish that they actually waited. Like, it might feel like so stressful because everyone around you is doing it, but I never ever look back on like past relationships or flings and being like, oh yeah, I'm so happy I did that when I was super young. Like, no, I wish that I dedicated more time to my friends than relationships in high school, to be quite honest. So no, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Do everything at your own pace, and when you're comfortable, don't let anyone tell you otherwise, regardless. Because we already see, my first boyfriend, I didn't even like him. I didn't even want to kiss him. So don't do anything until you meet the right person and that you don't want to. Even if it's not the right person, don't do anything until you don't want to. Another person said, I'm low-key seeing some red flags with my friend's boyfriend. What should I do? Great question. That shows that you actually really care for your friend and are looking out for them. I had a friend who reached out to me in the past about an ex-boyfriend and was like, hey, I'm worried about X, Y, and Z with your boyfriend. And I was very, very defensive because I didn't want someone to think like my boyfriend was a bad boyfriend. I'm not talking about my current one, by the way. And I was very insecure about my relationship. And so I got very defensive very quick. So I do want to tell you, hey, reach out to your friend, but don't be surprised if your friend gets very, very defensive. Depending on what the red flags are, I mean, I think what I would personally do now, I would probably text my friend or even talk to her in person if she's a she and be like, hey, I am kind of noticing that Jerry, your boyfriend, let's just say his name is Jerry. I just noticed that Jerry's doing this thing and I don't know, it's just kind of worries me. Does it worry you? And see where the conversation leads and just be like, no, I just care about you and I just want to make sure that you're okay. So I just wanted to know if everything's all right in the relationship. I want to say that you should trust your friend, but like I said, there's also a chance that she might not be completely honest with you. Keep an eye on things and keep checking in on her. If it gets to a point where you think that the relationship should not be happening anymore, she will leave when she's ready, which is unfortunate, but that's how a lot of relationships go when it comes to things like that. But I would say just make sure that she knows that you're there for her, because I did not open up to anybody about my situation when I was younger. And I think it was just because I just didn't feel comfortable with anyone, even though my friends were so supportive, but I was so embarrassed in myself that I already, try to convince everyone that we were this perfect couple when we were not. So just be very, very patient and be there for your friend. Someone said, I love my boyfriend and I know that, but what if I have never been with someone else? Am I losing something? Okay, so I'm pretty sure that Best Dressed has talked about this before. And who else has talked about this entire topic before? I think it's Haley Pham has talked about this with her fiance Ryan Trahan, because her fiance Ryan has never been in a relationship prior to Haley, and now they're literally getting married. And so she was kind of talking about how she's a little bit worried, and how her mom was worried how this was going to work out because he's literally never even been with anyone else in his entire life. But I think it all comes down to what you want out of your life. So in my personal experience, I don't know if I'm outing Adam, but Adam hasn't ever had another girlfriend other than me. And so I've been his only relationship. And so that was like a concern of mine as well. Like how do you know that I'm the one for you if you've never been with anyone else? But at least me coming from somebody who was with someone else before him and, had like little flings here and there, it doesn't really matter. Like, I think if I were never to be in a relationship with those people, I still would be happy that I'm with Adam. Like, I don't need personally, I don't have the want to be with anyone else, even though I haven't been with many guys or dated many guys. It doesn't make me want to be with anyone else, and he kind of doesn't feel the same. So I guess it's kind of like what you want. Like, if you feel like personally, like, damn, I feel like I'm missing out. Like, I feel like, hey, I love my boyfriend, but I feel like there might be more. Listen, I'm not probably the best person to give advice on like open relationships or anything because I don't have any experience with it. But maybe that's something worth talking to your significant other about if it's something that you want to try out, or even if it's like, hey, I want to take a break in this time period. That's completely up to you. But like I said, I think it ultimately comes down to like, what do you want in your life? Like, if you feel like, damn, I really want this experience of being with other guys, then I think you have kind of that right to it. But I think you also need to understand that your boyfriend may not be like comfortable with that and may not want to be with you after that. But like I said, I think that's just a decision that you have to make on your own. Ultimately, what do you want out of your life? Personally, I don't feel like I'm losing anything because I feel like I'm with the right person for me. Do you have any cute date ideas during the pandemic? I think so. Maybe. This is actually a really cute question. I guess that depends if you're seeing your significant other in person or if you're not. If you're not seeing your significant other in person and you're going the route of like online dates, I think there's a thing called like Netflix party where you can like both watch Netflix at the same time. My best friend and I, Kaylee, we used to actually like sit on Uvu together and then watch illegal movies together at the same time, but we would both be in the comfort of our own homes and we would pause at the same time and everything. So I think you can do something similar, but it's a lot easier than that and it's not illegal. You could do that with your significant other, like setting a time and being like, all right, this time we are both making popcorn. We're both sitting down. We're both watching this and we're going to talk about it. I think that's super cute. However, if you are seeing your significant other, I don't know, I think like cute little basic things are the cutest. Like, for example, having a day where you bake bread. I'm a big bread baker believer, even though I'm so fucking allergic and I keep telling myself every single day that I'm going to quit eating gluten because the effects it has on me is so terrible and I'm ruining myself. And tomorrow is Monday. Tomorrow, well, no, I have a lot of tortillas that I need to still go through. Shit. I'll quit gluten soon, okay? But my point is that I think that like baking bread for a night or like making desserts for a night, I think that's so fun and cute and like so easy. I think if you have a dog, going on walks with your dog, I love doing that. Whenever I would go to Adam's house, like I would just beg if we could walk his dog because I don't have a dog. It's just he lives in like such a cute little neighborhood, so we can just frolic with the dog and I love it so much. And I don't personally watch a lot of movies or TV shows, but when I'm with Adam, I do actually watch like movies and TV shows because he like forces me to watch them, but I like comedies a lot. So I think sitting down, that's so basic. Yeah, just watch movies. But it's fun for me, or we'll just like sit and show each other TikToks all the time. That's my idea of a date. Or maybe you could have like a picnic in your backyard. That sounds really cute too, to be honest. Probably a lot cuter than me saying like, watch a comedy movie, but that's my hot take. Someone said, should I be jealous/concerned that my boyfriend is buying OnlyFans? Okay, that's heavy. I think if it concerns you and if you're uncomfortable with it, then yeah, absolutely. I think that is something to be concerned about because like that shit, I don't know if I would be comfortable with. I personally don't think I would be personally comfortable with that. Like the whole concept of like, oh my God, do you let your boyfriend watch porn? Like, I think that that's like, I'm not even going to get into my views on that because everyone's opinions are so different about that. However, OnlyFans though, like actually contributing money, and I think potentially to girls he may know in real life, I don't know. Personally, I would have an issue with it. I think you should talk to him ASAP about that and tell him, I'm not cool with that. That actually really hurts my feelings. I don't like this. Choose where you go from there. But yeah, you have every right to be jealous or concerned. Please don't let people think that you don't have a right. I think a lot of the times, like, girls are taught to be like the cool girl and not stress about these kinds of things when guys are making them upset or jealous. But like, if it's upsetting you, then it's upsetting you, like within reason, of course. Like, I don't like the argument of like, guys shouldn't be liking other girls' pictures. Oh my God. That's what Instagram is for, to like pictures. I want him to like his girlfriend's pictures. It's the nice thing to do. It's just liking a picture. It's not saying like, I want to fuck you. Like, that's not what that is, okay? I feel like I'm on Call Her Daddy right now. But if it's something like buying OnlyFans, yeah, I would not like that. Speak up, girly. Someone said, I want to get a nose ring, but my boyfriend doesn't like them and I'm scared he won't like it. Screw him, get the nose ring. It's so cute. Get a hoop. I'll tell you exactly where to get it from, what Etsy shop. I think I get an 18 gauge. They're like super skinny. No, absolutely you should get a nose ring. At the end of the day, it is your body. At the end of the day, you were born into this world alone and you were perfectly fine without him. And it is your face and not his nose. I don't get that. I don't understand when guys are like, I don't like this on a girl. Your girlfriend's hot. Like, a little nose hoop is probably going to only make her hotter. Why are you against the hoop? Embrace the hoop. I don't know. Like if my boyfriend told me, hey, I want to get a nose ring, I'd be like, frick yeah, get a nose ring. It's your face. You do whatever you want to do. Imagine feeling like you have the right to tell someone what to do with their body. Absolutely not. Especially your significant other. You should support them in whatever they want to do. So I say, absolutely get it. And if he doesn't like it, screw him, to be honest. I get really riled up with these kinds of things. I used to work with somebody who she adored like piercings and tattoos, and she had like beautiful tattoos. And she only had a few and they were like mostly covered, but she would always talk to me about all these like piercings that she would want, all these tattoos that she would want, but she would be like, but my boyfriend doesn't like them, so I'm just not going to get more because I don't want to make him upset. And I was like, what? What? If you want to get all these beautiful tattoos, you have a great artist. Why would you not? Oh my God, why would you not? And then she's like, well, I mean, he does have the right. Like, you know, he is the one that like is with me and everything. And I was like, no. It's your body. Imagine, God, I would be so pissed off if like I lived my entire life with like the love of my life and everything. And then we get to our deathbed and I find out that he cheated on me and was a terrible human being and everything. And then I just have to think back like I'm like 99 years old in the hospital. And I'm like, fuck, I should have gotten that nose ring. Oh my God, I should have like gotten that tattoo. No, if a guy doesn't like something about you, no. I don't accept that personally. I do not accept that. So I say get the nose ring. And if he doesn't like it, drop him immediately. Also, hit me up. I'll tell you where I get my nose rings from because I can't remember it off the top of my head. Someone said, not really for relationship, but I've been single for a bit and I feel shitty about it. Any tips? Yeah. Okay. So I think being single is so much fun. Like I love being in my relationship. It's awesome and everything. But I also think back to my little single days and I was like, wow, little Nikki Nasty was a little single, thriving lady. And I think a lot of it had to do with falling in love with myself, like getting out of a sucky ass relationship and then finding out that I rock and I deserve the world. That was so cool to experience. And I immediately started like doing so much more for myself. Like I fell in love with makeup and I fell in love with dressing my best and I made this awesome group of friends. And I think like having a little life revamp where you're just like, I'm choosing to love myself today, even if I'm not with another significant other. I think that is the best decision that you can make for yourself. So I think I said this, what did I say this in? Did I say this in a video? Romanticizing your life is so cool, and I'm trying to do it more often. If you don't know what that really means, it's like essentially living your life like it's a movie. Like thinking every little stupid thing is so cool. Like I can be sitting here and I think that it's the coolest thing in the world that I get to have a podcast and I get to sit here in my little PJs and my little comfy chair that I'm so proud that I bought myself, with my little fancy cup that my boyfriend got me. And life is so good because I've always wanted a podcast my whole entire life, and now I get to sit here and do it at 12:43 a.m. because that is prime pod hours for Nikki Nasty. That is romanticizing your own life. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but I think it's the sense that you love all the little parts of your life, acting like you're in a movie. And I think if you start doing that about yourself, romanticizing all the little things about yourself, I think that's when life gets a lot more fun, because treating every day as a routine and like it's boring and like it sucks, there's no fun in that. So make everything super fun. Dress up just for fun, just because you like your outfit. You don't even need to be going anywhere, but you're like, I love this shirt. I feel so pretty in it. I'm going to wear it today. And take all these like cute pictures of yourself. Make those cute little edity TikToks with like the glitter effect on them. I always wanted to do that. Do that. Do a little glitter TikTok. and I think that's going to cure you of your single blues. Let me know how it goes. And lastly, my dear friend said, why do I attract men who seem nice on the outside but are actually Satan in human form? Okay, well, since I know you personally, I can attest to that. You do tend to attract men who are actually Satan in human form, and it is quite tragic. I'm going to speak like I don't know you, but I'm going to also speak like I do know you. I think maybe you might need more time to actually get to know the guy. Like maybe you are falling with the guy a little bit too soon, perhaps. For me personally, I always just get like gut feelings with guys. Like every single guy that I've ever involved myself with, immediately, like that first vibe or whatever, vibes do not lie, okay? When I tell you that I know when some guy is off, I know it because I date them. Not this one though. This one's great. But in the past, like my first impression of so many dudes were like, he's a jerk, he's an asshole, he's really cocky, he makes me uncomfortable. And then they like sweet talk you, and then you're like, oh, it was just my head. I was not thinking straight. No, you were thinking straight, bitch. And guess what? You're now stuck with this guy. Well, not stuck, but now you're with this guy, and you don't want to be with this guy, and you should listen to the vibes from the start, because guess what? He was a douchebag. So I didn't get those vibes when I'm with Adam, like of 3 years now. Like I never got those vibes that I was like, oh, he's a douchebag, he's a weird. Like my first vibes of him were like, wow, his shorts are really, really short, because I saw him for the first time dressed up as the UPS man from Legally Blonde. But first time actually meeting him in person, like you can't really tell from text, but first time meeting him in person, I was like, oh, he's a sweet, genuine guy. Like he's literally nervous to be here right now eating shrimp tempura with me, except I was not the one eating shrimp tempura. I'm vegan, but you get what I'm saying. So I think you might need to give yourself a bit more time when you get to know these guys, and also trust your gut with like the first instincts and stuff. And like also bringing guys around friends is such a smart idea. Like for example, I had a friend in college who she brought her boo interest around us and like had a whole like little shopping day with the gals and just him, and she like observed, well, it did not work out, I'll tell you that. It did not work out between the two of them. But you know, at first we were like, you know what, like this could be good, but like all the ladies observed. He also had to be on his best behavior then. And like also the way that guys act around your girlfriends especially, it says a lot about them. like so much about them. Because if a guy's like super duper shy and doesn't even like acknowledge your friends or isn't polite to them or doesn't try and talk to them, it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. But if a guy's like super open and wants to chat and he's like really like loving with your friends, those guys are the best. So this guy wasn't our fave, wasn't the ladies' fave, and it didn't work out. But it kind of made things more comfortable for her and kind of like was a little test for us. And yeah, so I think do that. Give guys little tests. Don't jump into these relationships with these Satan ass men. All right. I love you. That's going to wrap up today's podcast. I hope that you guys enjoyed. This was a very, very fun podcast because I love getting advice, especially about relationships and especially when they're unsolicited. You know, that's my favorite thing ever. I hope that you guys can be a part of the next one. Like I said, just follow me on Instagram. It's just at Nicole Raffi, where you can be a part of the next time that I'm asking for questions. And also make sure to rate and review this podcast. If you have Apple Podcasts, which I know you do, if you have an iPhone, you can go and rate this podcast because it's the only way that it can really help me be in the charts or whatever. I don't even know if we are in the charts, but currently I have 340 ratings. So let's get that shit up. And thank you guys so much for always leaving such a kind review. But I always read a little review every single week. So make sure to leave one so that I can read yours next week. But this person said, "Love, love, love" by Archery Girl 14. And she said, "I've never listened to a podcast and actually applied what it said in the podcast to my personal life. I found Nicole sometime last week on YouTube and have been binging her videos and was so excited when I found out she had a podcast. Keep doing you, Nicole. You are awesome. Such an inspiration. Heart emojis. I love you, Archery Girl. So sweet. They're so kind. Thank you so much for leaving that review. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to this potty." I'm going to go now. I'm going to take my ass to sleep. Is anyone else's allergies like extremely bad? Like I feel like I might have to take an allergy pill before I go to bed. It's terrible. I can't stop sneezing and now my throat hurts and then it makes me paranoid about Miss Roni. I hate it because I'm not even going out anywhere. But anyway, thanks so much for listening. I'll catch you guys on the next episode. See ya.